Welcome gamers to Last Call Gaming, the weekly gaming news show that keeps you up to date on all things video games. And on today's episode, guys, here's a look at what we're discussing. But as always, guys, there's all that and more. So if you want to hang out, grab yourself a beer and let's talk games. Welcome gamers to Last Call Gaming. We're on episode 29. My name is Craig Perales, and joining me is the man that hung out with me for the better part of today, Mandrew Montemayor.
What better day to spend a rainy day?
Yeah, it was pretty rainy today. We had the windows open, the cool breeze was flowing.
I thought it was pretty nice.
Had a good time. I do want to give a shout out, guys. I'll Give You Mo recommended if we want to drink Moose Drool Brown Ale, Big Sky Brewing Co. It's a 5.2er. So we picked up a 6er and drinking them. Andrew, initial thoughts? I've never had it before.
I've never had it either. I think it's okay. I think it's good. I hated the first drink, but the second drink was a lot better. So maybe as I progress a little bit
it's
more,
going down a little more droolier. Because on the bottle is a moose with drool coming out of his mouth. So you can't get more clear than that. I think it was good. It does leave a lasting taste in your mouth, but the initial, gulp, I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, maybe I'm just a pussy. Who knows?
Hey guys, you heard it here first. But also, guys, what you're going to hear first is our first impressions on two games that just dropped over the last week. And that is, well, the first one's going to be Pokemon Sword and Shield, and more specifically Sword, because that is the copy that we picked up and that we started playing. So, anyone that's been watching the trailers obviously know this is a Pokemon game it's the first installment on the 8th generation, but it's the second installment if you're looking at Pokemon on the Switch, because the Let's Go Pikachu and the Let's Go Eevee
are technically,
it came out first. But if you're looking at the more traditional sense, this is the game to do it. Now, this centers around the region of Galar. It's kind of based on like a Great Britain, London type setup build.
I kind of like that, and you'll notice that too when you talk to people. They're like, "Oh, that's mint," or they'll use,
"Mate, come on, mate, we gotta hurry up."
Yeah.
So you see that, and just like all the other games, there's you got rivals. In this particular case, it's one of your best friends and a couple other people that you'll be introduced to. The concept is obviously you want to become the league champion, but there's kind of more emphasis on it because you know the champion, or at least you're friends with the brother of the champion, because your main rival is his younger brother. So
right, it's not this person that you're just building up to towards the end. You're building up with the idea,
no-name guy that you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not strong enough to beat you now, but maybe someday I will be. Yeah. And so that's pretty cool for a drive. I always kind of like that idea versus working my way up to this unknown person and being surprised by it, which is, that's a cool way to go about it too.
And so I played almost all the Pokemon, except I didn't play Sun and Moon. That was the only one I've missed. So I don't know if that one has a different starting story, but this one doesn't start the same as how I remember most of the other ones doing it, where you wake up, you got to go meet the professor or whatever tree name they ripped off, and you had to go run to the thing to go get your starter. This one actually is the league champion comes into town, you go pick him up from the train station, and he's the one that kind of gives you your first guide that you get to pick through.
Right.
Again, it's fire, grass, water, no surprise there. When I started my run through that I haven't finished it yet, I'm only on the first gym badge, I picked the fire guy. Andrew, you started it, you picked the
I went water. I think it's Sopple.
Sopple, yeah.
Something like that.
I think mine's Score Bunny. So, initially speaking, guys, it's got the traditional sense in terms of there's a team that you need to, I'm sure, thwart throughout the thing, but it's called Team Yell, which is a very kind of weak name, really generic. They're like diehard fans of somebody else that's competing in the league to become champion.
I think what I hated more about it is I personally like Gary's girls that follow him around in the show better than I like these people in that show. Is how old?
Yeah, fuck. So, and again, keep this in context. I'm only as far as the first gym badge, so this is kind of where the stretch of it's going to go. But what we can talk on is, Andrew, because I know you were saying right when you first were watching it, a lot of people are griping on the frame rate issue. You were watching it, we saw a couple things drop, we saw that it was panning across. Watching it, did it bug you at all? Is this the kind of game that suffers from something like that?
I mean, it happens, and it's kind of weird too, because the one that I thought was the weirdest for it to happen was like nothing's moving, like all the people are standing there, so they're like doing that sort of bobbing thing, like, but it's not like they're fighting or doing anything like that, and just for it to pan from right to left, like it was like and then it went, and so it was just kind of like jarring. I was like, oh, I wonder why I did that or whatever. I mean, it really doesn't take me like out of the game. It's not like I've ever been one of those people like, oh shit, I believe I'm in the Pokemon world and this took me out or anything like that. But I guess if it were to happen enough, I could see how some people can get like kind of sick from that, because I personally sometimes, like, especially if it does like a lot of panning or just that like stop go, that kind of stuff does make me like a little bit sick sometimes.
Especially after drinking a few Moostrals.
Yeah. So like other games, like old Skyrim or something like that, like especially once you get it like really bad, like I kind of have to wait a little bit, because once it starts doing that and it's all like blurry and stuff like that, that kind of stuff makes me feel like a little bit sick. So I got to stop for a second. I didn't feel it was that bad.
Yeah, because again, I was playing on the actual handheld part of it, but I like docking it. I like putting it on my TV.
Oh, I love that.
I thought it looked fantastic. I mean,
the game looked great. Yeah,
I don't think that was enough for me to be like, oh, it's not worth getting. The graphics on it look good. Some people were arguing that it looks kind of like I guess a scaled up 3DS port, but I don't know if that's enough to complain about.
I don't know what more you're wanting from it.
Yeah,
are you wanting like a hyper realistic like Pokemon game or something?
Yeah, I don't know what more they could deliver on the terms of graphics that would make that it's going to appease you more.
Yeah, no, I think it looks great. Personally, I wouldn't want it to look like Detective Pikachu, like the movie. Like I think that movie's great and it looks great for what it is, but that's confined to that movie. I wouldn't want that game.
And we were even talking about how you could see distance, like the depth that they give you to in the landscape you got to work with. I thought it looks beautiful. I thought it looks really good. Everything's bright, vibrant, just the way you would want it to. But let's kind of get more into like the layout. I liked it now. The Pokemon centers are kind of like one-stop shops with the Poke Shop, the Renamer.
Yeah, you don't have to visit 4 different stores to do whatever.
They all have like towns now where you can go in, you can go buy stuff. Andrew was buying all kinds of gear for your person.
Oh yeah, I just went in because I was like, oh, I'm not even going to use this save, so I'm just like buying. One of my favorite things now is that you can actually customize your character a little bit more. You can buy all kinds of different clothes.
I was buying socks, shoes.
Yeah, shoes, pants. Socks, pants. I bought these like Gucci $13,000. So all the money that your mom gives you at the start to start you on your quest,
like $40,000.
Yeah, you're supposed to use it all on your Pokemon. I spent it all on clothes and my Gucci Prada bag.
And I was just watching him. I was just like, yeah, he's having fun with that. He's not buying potions. He's not buying berries. But
that's the first thing I did when I went to a new area. I was like, okay, let me stop in the shop and see what kind of clothes and stuff like that they have.
So it does have the traditional route system, right? You kind of go from place to place to get to your next objective. And it's the same as a Pokemon game would play. There's trainers that you're going to pass. What I kind of like now is when you're passing them, like your screen will kind of get darker, which means you're narrowing in on their field of vision, so you know if you're about to encounter them, which means you can either try to find a way around them or some are, naturally you have to do that. That's fun. The game still plays traditionally the same, so the only thing I didn't like, and I think Andrew, you said you were kind of liking, when you pull up the world map.
Oh, I love the map.
It looks like a little kid's, like my nephew's like train playmat that he can roll his cars around to get from place to place. But on the opposite side, Andrew was like, oh, that's cool. I like the way that looks. But there's a flag that kind of shows you where to go and like a reminder in the top. So if you do kind of forget what you're doing, it tells you exactly what to do. And on scale, once you start looking at it,
dude, it's huge.
Pretty big, right?
Yeah, no, it's massive too, and that's kind of what I like about this place. Is it seems like it's very big, but it's not too big. So where I'm like, fuck, dude, I'll never get over there. I don't want to go over there. So you can follow the path, or you could just go off the beaten path because all these Pokemon are just wandering everywhere, and they'll start chasing after you too. So that's kind of a thing you're trying to do too. And you can't just dodge everybody because sometimes you'll be chasing, then another one will cut you off, or they'll come out of the ground, or some of the birds will swoop down from the sky.
Which I thought was way cool. Yeah, the fact that now you can see Pokemon actually moving around. And again, you saw this in the trailer, so we're not saying anything new, but it's different when you're playing it. So you actually get to see them walk around, and then there's wild ones in the grass. So that was cool.
I have to say, I do like that a lot more than the occasional just running into Pokemon like randomly, and that's it. I think, and I only played it for a little bit, I don't know if you noticed this, if you're dodging stuff for too long, though, out in the grass, it randomly throws you into a fight. Because I had that happen to me like twice.
Like, so sometimes like an exclamation point will pop up, which means you're if you were to like stay there or move a certain way, you'd hit them. But for the most part, you can dodge those. But yeah, after so many, I think it does have to put you in one.
Because there was no Pokemon around me because I had ran around them just because I'm just trying to cruise, just play as long as I can, and then it just randomly threw me into fight. So I'm like, oh, I guess that's pretty cool too for someone you can't just go your whole thing without fighting.
And then speaking of the fights, like the animation looks good. I liked it all the way everything's worded.
Which you can turn off too, by the way. If you feel that,
I did see that.
Options are always good.
And we were noticing that when you fight somebody, if you fought them before or you're familiar with them, it'll start telling you if your attacks are effective or not.
That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, you meet a new guy, it doesn't know yet, but now it kind of learns. It really put that kind of RPG element on it.
Right. As soon as I first start, because I don't know these Pokemon either, so after I fought them one time, when I see another one again, I'm like, which one's that one again? As soon as I go to attack, it'll be like effective or super effective underneath whatever fights or like does nothing or whatever like that. So that was pretty cool.
And and the other thing is when, and we're on two sides of the coin, because I think originally you were really hyped for it, is your guys get experience for everything. And it's not so back in the day there used to be the experience share. So if your main guy was doing something, you could, trickle off a little experience for whoever was holding the item. Now everybody gets experience regardless, and it doesn't even have to be for a battle. You can catch a Pokemon and everybody gets experience. You can do a thing now when you can camp now and you can kind of play with your guys to get them to like you more. Everybody gets experience. On one side of me was like, that kind of sucks. I miss the grind. I miss getting to know the Pokemon. But on the other side, I'm like, dude, it's perfect. It's time saving. It lets me build up a roster faster to know if I'm gonna like this guy or not. Because what I wanted to do is not look up the guide of new guys to just see what they evolve into. I'm like, oh, let me for once naturally just see who this guy turns into.
Right.
And this is just a good way to level up. Like I picked up a Magikarp right away. I just left him in my party because I know he's gonna get experience, and now I have a Gyarados without even trying to get him out, because training a Magikarp sucks.
Right.
To get him in there.
And that was actually one of my favorite things. So I haven't played a Pokemon game in a while, but I've downloaded some ROMs on my phone.
He's a ROMer.
I always download a sort of just like a cheat. I don't make them overpowered, but I do level my Pokemon up, and then that enables me, as someone who doesn't have all the time in the world, to go out and I'm like, I've never used this Pokemon before, so now I can experiment with it without feeling like I wasted my fucking time, just to get it up to where it needs to be.
Wait for him to get a move and you're like, oh cool, now he's usable.
Exactly. Or even still experiment with the Pokemon maybe I wasn't interested in, because now maybe I like the evolved version, but I didn't want to put in the 1 to 35 to get him there because it's some dumb little whatever it may be. So I do like that everyone's getting it. So I would be more likely now just to carry a Pokemon around just to see what it does. So that opens the door for that experimentation. Which is what I've been doing,
yeah. Like I've been keeping a team of just guys just so I can see what they evolve into, see if I want to keep them on my team, see if I want to keep moving forward with them. But moving forward with them, you guys, the new thing that they brought to this, and I think we talked about it a few episodes back, which looked interesting, is the wild area that you can explore, which is now this kind of this spot where you can go find guys like how you would naturally in grass, but now there's like overpowered Pokemon that are walking around. Like you can see a Snorlax that's just out of nowhere and he's trucking around, or like an Onix or something like that. And those guys are meant to be, at least the way I found out, is as pillars of going, okay, if you want to catch a stronger version than what's in the grass, you go fight that one. And it'll tell you, it says you're not fighting like a super powered version Onix. And then you'll see the level spacing on it.
And not all of these Pokemon are aggressive too, because the Snorlax, clearly he can't run. He just kind of trounces around. But he doesn't really care that you're there. But there were some other Pokemon too, like you'll see him get scared and there's like little tears and they'll be running away, and so you're trying to catch them like that.
Aggressively follow you.
Versus the ones that will aggressively attack you. So I like that kind of diversity too, because I always thought it was kind of weird too, because there's like a squirrel on there that will aggressively attack you, and it's this cute little fluffy squirrel. I didn't see what the other one was that was running away because I didn't chase it in the grass, but I was like, I wonder what that is that's running away, because I can't picture a squirrel being violent.
And a couple of things just to kind of gloss over is, you got the berries like you always have, but now there's trees that you can just shake, and if you shake them hard enough, Pokemon fall out of them to fight you. I thought that was kind of cute. Other things now is the badges. They're still, I believe, called badges, but now it's like a circuit that you have to follow, and it kind of, everyone you get builds into that ring.
Yeah, it almost looks like a piece of a medallion, and so you get like a corner of it and you put it together. I think that's kind of, I prefer the traditional badge.
Yeah, but I believe it's like it'll turn into like an initiation token to get you into where you got to go.
Yeah.
The gym battles, at least the first one I did, you have to like beat like challenges to get to the gym leader. So like the first one is, he has these little, what's the sheep that?
I already forgot the name,
whatever his name. The first one you see, you have to like herd them to the end of this level. And the first one's easy. The second one, there's like the dogs running around, so they'll bark and they'll scare them away. But it kind of reminded me of like Lieutenant Surge, when you have to, find the right trash can to unlock it. Or like Sabrina, where the walls kept doing it. So it's kind of like their version of getting to the gym leader. And then when you finally do, then you go into the battle system. It's the big Coliseum. You can do the Dynamaxing. We all saw that where the Pokemon get big. I'm hearing that's where a lot of people are kind of losing the flavor of it. It was a cool idea. I don't think it stuck the landing. Yeah. I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah, I want you to do one. I didn't think it was anything like monumental or crazy or anything like that, but it's there, and I mean, sure, why not do it? I think it's pretty cool. And cool enough if you can get someone else to do it with.
Yeah, because I was like to say, the online component, I haven't messed around with it a lot, because every time I try doing it, it doesn't find anybody. So I have to do all my online stuff by myself with like the computer generated people. But it is cool because you can catch stronger guys than you normally would have, and you get kind of cool items. But other than that, the only other gripe I know a lot of people are having is I believe it's only 81 new Pokemon are introduced in this, where most people are used to that 150, right, that staple. And there's 13 regional variants, which from what I can gather is like Meowth. When I catch him in this area, looks different than that one. So
yeah, kind of like they were doing with like the Alola ones, like a Snow Eevee or whatever and stuff like that.
I mean, overall impression, what are you thinking?
I personally love it.
Because I remember you were saying you want to get a Switch now.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get a Switch for a while, but personally that like just pushed me even further and even closer, because I haven't played a Pokemon in forever, and I've always been like, I'm not really into it anymore because I just don't have the time. And this one it pulled me instantly into where I felt like, I didn't feel like I'm just like cruising through or anything like that, but I'm like, fuck, I don't have to sit here and waste my time training one after another and all these things. Like, I don't know, it definitely just felt like there was enough there to where I felt like this would be the perfect place for me to jump back in. And I haven't played one since Gold. So.
Yeah, I've been liking it. I know CN's cruising through it a lot farther than I am, but as far as I've got to play with it, I remember snapping everybody. I was like, dude, I can finally play a nice console Pokemon game, waiting for it forever. This one's doing very well. A lot of people are calling it like a training wheels Pokemon, like a get started one, but I don't see that as a bad thing. Like, this is a good one that gets someone that hasn't played in a while back on it. Anyone that plays all of them, it's not missing a step. It's adding a few new mechanics, so I don't see what there is to complain about outside of there maybe not being the 150 and some frame rate drops. Like, I don't know what else there is to be mad about it. I don't know how long it is. I guess that could be a point of
it seems pretty big that I can't imagine it being very short, but I mean, either way,
and one of the cool things is you start off with a fishing pole, you get your bike pretty soon in the game, so like it gets you kind of the stuff for any familiar player with it ready to go pretty quick. So I'm liking it, and I think you guys will too. Anything else you want to add?
Oh, I do want to add actually someone, and this could have been a riff, but I bring it up now anyways, is that someone's already hacking the game, and they're putting Pokemon in
pocket monsters,
but they're not. So they're taking them from Pokemon Go, and they're taking that Go Eevee or whatever, and putting it in. So like the one he did was like an Amistar. They didn't import the moves or anything to it yet, just the Pokemon to see how it looks compared to the others. And I think it actually looks almost kind of like the same, identical. Like if you were to show me the things, I don't think I would even be able to tell the difference. So I just thought that was kind of cool and kind of funny, especially for people out there who are complaining about the missing Pokemon. You can only have
hackers are kind of taking control of this.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of a cool thing, and who knows, maybe one day you could buy like a patch version or something like that.
Yeah, and again, who knows how Nintendo operates with all their online stuff. But overall, guys, I'm having a good time with it.
I had a blast.
Andrew's looking like he's having a good time with it. So check it out. Let us know what you think. Let us know which version you got, and let us know which Pokemon you started with. But moving on to the next story, guys, was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, a game that launched the same day. I believe they both came out on November 15th. So this game, guys, is the next game from EA's Star Wars, line of games developed by Respawn.
Most notably Titanfall.
Yeah, so I just want to start off with that. A lot of people were already kind of saying this game's gonna suck, blah blah blah. I get that maybe some of the trailers didn't look great when you first watched them.
I didn't think they did.
But I was a day one Bandcamp guy going, dude, this game's gonna be good because I'm not looking at EA doing it. Right, they're publishing it, but it's Respawn, and Andrew just made me play Titanfall 1 and 2, and I'm like, if this is anything we're getting out of those guys, then my expectations are already set pretty high. And I'm already saying, I don't know if it was IGN, it already gave him like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it's already high reviews.
Game of the year, so let's get into what it is. So the story is, guys, you are playing Cal, who actually is a Padawan that survived execute Order 66. And that's kind of where the story takes place. X amount of years have gone by. He does he uses some force that gets him recognized. He's now on the run, and he joins this crew. That's where the story starts. But that's not what's good about it. It's the gameplay. Andrew, you've been playing it. Let's walk me off on how your experience has been so far.
I personally love it. A lot of people think, and I can see the correlation. I hear a lot of people saying it's like Dark Souls, whereas you can't just sit there and just keep swinging your lightsaber. You kind of do have to block or use the parry, time your strikes just right. There's spots that you can go to where you can meditate, and after you meditate, that will actually bring back to life the enemies that are around you, just like how in Dark Souls, when you go rest at the bonfire, that brings back the enemies that you may have killed. But I personally like... I think one of my favorite things about it so far is the map design.
Yeah.
Because it's not open world, but in a way, kind of like, it's a smaller open world. It's kind of almost like what it's like. Because you can run around, there's all kinds of different paths, there's all kinds of different things that you can do. But it's self-contained, and it's almost maybe like the size of the planets on like Outer Worlds. I felt was
I'm glad you said that. I was literally just gonna say that it was big enough to look at and go explore, but small enough so I wasn't overwhelmed. It wasn't like an level of Skyrim where it's infinite.
Exactly, and that's one of my favorite things about it. And you can open up all kinds of shortcuts as you're opening new paths to get from like A to B, which is really cool too. And you're just progressively, checking out all these areas. And I found myself actually loving it. I'm exploring every little thing and just, trying to solve all the little puzzles and stuff. Which some of them are kind of fucking challenging too. I'm like beating my head. I'm like, dude, how the fuck do I do this? Like, I had to look up like
and
one
some
of
them are just so simple. You're like, oh, I didn't do that.
Dude, I didn't do that. Exactly. Yeah, one of them was really fucking simple, and I didn't even think about it too.
Yeah, I already beat it. So I'll be careful with what I say. I don't want to say any spoilers.
I'd say I'm about a good almost like halfway. Maybe
I'd say probably about halfway.
Just
the game's fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish and finish it. The ending is awesome in my opinion. But what Andrew's saying, the map system, I do think starts off very intimidating because it is kind of, you're looking at this thing going, holy shit. Because
you're running around a lot.
Because there's no fast travel. That's
right.
That's the key to note here. There's no fast travel. So when you start looking at this thing and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you're like, oh shit. But once you start playing it and you get to like the second, third world and you start developing it more, you're like, oh, I remember it, A, and then B, it's here to there, it's there to there. But I get where you can get kind of lost on the exploration because that's half of the game is finding out more things, getting more Jedi Echo locations, which was cool if you're trying to develop the lore of the game. But the part I really dug the most was the character development because a lot of people aren't liking Cal.
I love Cal.
I do like Cal. And everyone's kind of going, oh, this is another flat, generic, vanilla, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. My interpretation, my opinion, Andrew's opinion, I like the character. But who shines is BD1. The more BD1 you get in this game is fantastic. He might be the best unplayable side character in a game ever. He's constantly lighting up what you should be looking at. He's constantly he can heal you if you need it.
Gives you clues as to where to go.
He pulls up your auto map in real time so you can start looking at it. So keep that in mind though, because if you pull that up while you're doing it, you can still be hit. The game runs beautifully. What I don't like, even though I like that it's there, is I'm not a big fan of the leveling up system. I don't like how it kind of limits to what you can get. But once you develop the story, you'll understand why. Overall, though, I think the game runs fantastic. I think it's just big enough. I think it's just big enough, but contained enough to be completely enjoyable. And the storyline, for me, excels.
Yeah, so far, like I said, I'm not fully through. I'm loving a lot of the characters. The only thing I think looks kind of weird is I think like Seer looks kind of weird.
And look up anything online. Everybody says that.
Yeah, I was actually just looking up before we talk about it too. I was like,
we wanted to make sure.
Yeah. I was like, she looks kind of weird, but I think graphically the game is beautiful. I think one of my favorite scenes, and they've shown it from the trailers, but spoilers in case you haven't watched anything, I'll give you a second, is the first time when you meet the second sister and it's raining. Like, I always think that rain is something hard to get right in a game, to where if it just looks flat and it falls flat, you're not seeing it bounce off stuff, it looks like shit. It just takes you, it doesn't take me completely out of it, but I'll notice it right away and I'm like, oh, that looks horrible, especially when you see it falling through people.
Horrible.
And I thought it looked absolutely great watching the rain fall off his poncho. I love the customization in this game. Yeah. That's one of my favorite things too, is you can customize BD, you can customize the ship, you can customize Cal from the clothes he's wearing to the poncho that's over him.
Which I kept the Kashyyyk I forget what the name of it was, but it was badass. It has like the flying dragon on it.
I love right away too. They give you a lot of that stuff. You just find them randomly in chests, so you don't have to pay for any of this stuff. One of the bigger things is too, you can customize your lightsaber, and that's the full lightsaber. So you can start from the top to the hilt, even the little switch that you want, the cloth that's around the bottom.
Yep.
Even you can change
all
like
the
if you want it to be like steel. Right now, I'm actually running around with a copper one because it's
I
the closest to gold that I have.
I ran
right
around
now.
with the copper one forever, and I was just like, I wonder if anybody else chose copper out of all the things.
And so you can have like a matching set of a lightsaber, or just mix and match. I want this piece with this head with this switch, and I really loved all that. But I think one of my favorite things so far, and I've only seen a little bit of her, is the villain, the second sister. I thought she's absolutely great, and that's always one of my favorite things in a game, is a villain that's so good that I cannot wait to find out more about them, and I cannot wait to meet them again. And so that's kind of my thing, is when I'm going through this areas, I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying the story. I'm like, fine, I just want to run into her more because I'm dying to see what she's all about, because just her first impression that she makes on you is just badass.
And guys, like I said, I won't say more than I have to. She is badass, and you need to play this story because she does something for the Inquisitor. I was asking Andrew if you ever watched Star Wars Rebels, not to get off of a video game topic, but if you guys are playing or like the Inquisitors, watch Star Wars Rebels. They delve into the Inquisitors, and you can kind of know more about them. But one of the main things was it's finally moving in a way that Star Wars games, like, this is what we should have Star Wars games like. And this is like a nice base, a nice start, where if we can get more games like this.
It's funny that that's a start on the base end of their deal, which is almost up here in the next year or two.
Yeah, is it end of 2020 or 2021?
I think it's something like that. It's coming up close to where that contract expires.
And it's gonna be funny if this is the game that saves them, because EA has their contract almost expiring with Disney to be the sole creator of Star Wars games, and we're gonna see either if this game kind of keeps them in contract.
I don't think it will.
I don't, and nor should they. No, I don't think anyone should have
even
a
if
monopoly.
That's what I'm saying.
Wars.
Even if they put out all 10s, I don't think that contract still would have, because they're going to try to get money from anyone out there. Like, hey, we'll pay you. Let us make a Star Wars game.
I think when the contract was made, Disney just was so unaware of, or maybe ignorant of, what EA was capable of doing and their track record, to where they just heard the big names like, hey, let's put you guys in. Sure, make all these games. You guys make these other sports games every year, and they come out fantastic. Where I think they can learn their lesson that, hey, we need this in more hands, and I think and how awesome would it be to get some other studios making other Star Wars games and not just have one studio doing it every time.
It sucks that it took this long to get here, but so far this game's phenomenal. I'm absolutely having a blast with it. I'm personally loving it.
I beat it. I'd give the game a 9 out of 10. I thought it was excellent.
I think if it came out sooner, because it's too late now because of when it came out, if it had come out sooner, I think this would have been in the runnings for like a game of the year or something like that.
How much sooner do you think it would have needed to be? A month?
I think it's a month. I think the cutoff for a lot of that stuff's in like October, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It's good. It's anyone that's talking shit on it.
Or actually, maybe not. Maybe start in November.
What's what I'm saying?
Because Death Stranding's in November.
Well, so is Outer Worlds, which we'll get to
Outer
later.
Worlds is October. Oh no, both those games are October, aren't they?
No, Death Stranding I thought was the end of. But it was the end of October, unless 31 is just the cutoff.
Maybe.
Okay, so guys, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Pokemon Sword in particular, but Sword and Shield, both games, guys. If you get a chance to play them, check them out. The last thing, guys, small little story, not a big story, was a thing you've been hearing us talk about on a few episodes, was the Google Stadia. Is that what we would call it? The Google Stadia? Google Stadia is out. It's in the wild now. I guess I shouldn't say the wild. If you were a Founder Edition pre-order, it's out. It was supposed to launch on the 19th, and I got mine on the 20th.
Yeah, so I want to say for someone who did the Founder, as I didn't do it, I was upset for you. As someone who did the Founders Edition, the day one, put the money out there and everything to get yours a day late, I was like...
You know what's weird is, so me, Gino, Dante, we're all under the assumption that we all got the Founders Edition. I remember buying it, right? Money was out of my Wells Fargo, and now it's here. Gino and Dante both said that theirs never got charged, and they don't have it or something like that. Or Gino got charged once his got shipped. So I'm like, well, that's kind of weird that mine already did it. His got charged after. I'm curious of how that works. So another blunder on Google.
Yeah, and again, this is on Google. So I looked
online too. We did it the same day, same time.
I looked online too before even wanting to mention that in the story.
Okay.
And
good on you.
There's lots of other people who didn't get theirs on time, let alone they're supposed to send you some sort of confirmation email or something like that, and nobody had any of theirs like well before then until like almost the day of, like, oh, hey, it's here.
I got mine on like the 15th or 16th and got it on the 20th. So, but that aside, it did come in. It's a little different to set up, right? You've got to set up the Chromecast first, and then once it's connected, then you can set up your controller, then you download the Stadia app, and then you kind of configure everything. But I gotta say, once it got running, and I'm sure we'll play some video while we can, I didn't see any issue. But again, that's that's for now. I didn't see a problem. I saw the reaction time being quite good. Dante was playing a lot of Destiny. He saw a lot of kind of positiveness with it. You were playing it. You saw kind of maybe a little delayed reaction.
I think it was a little delayed. Some of the sound seemed like it was off, and I don't know how, because Dante said it played perfectly, and I beat Destiny 2 like when it came out, so I played that a ton. And I felt like that was it was like so heavy.
But was it enough to be unplayable?
No, it's not unplayable or anything by any means.
Like,
no.
Would you still be able to run around and get kills and all that, or was it? You think
I would have to adjust to it.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I still play fine. But again, it was just weird that of all the things that it felt like your character was like heavier. Like I had to like wait longer for him to move. I mean, it's not like Call of Duty. It's not a Twitch shooter or anything like that.
Right.
But I don't, unless it's just been that long since I played it. Maybe that's an update or something they did. I don't remember it being like that heavy-handed trying to run.
So one of the things was that if you got the Founders Edition, you got the 3-month code to give out to a friend. That can't happen until it's actually launched, because I looked it up. It says once it's out, then it'll email you for the code. You got to do your name, right? I saw a lot of people playing. They were Mike, Greg, John. They all want to be the first one to have that name. I stuck with Zeus928 if anybody wants to find me. And you got to get Destiny, and you got to get, I believe the game was Samurai Showdown, a fighting game, which actually I played a few rounds, felt pretty good. But then in the store,
it looks good.
They had their launch. I think we were talking about last week, 12 or 15 games. It's like the Assassin's Creed, the Tomb Raider games, a few of those. And if you've got the edition, it's all like $30. So if you've never played those games, it's a good time to jump in. But
I think what's
right now,
funnier though is
what?
Craig's like, I'm playing right now, blah blah blah, and I'm checking out the store, but I can't like buy a game or look at the games.
Oh yeah,
like,
I completely forgot.
Like, you don't remember talking
about
that last week? Is when I realized is that you have to use your phone to do it because it doesn't work.
Yeah, I remember being mad about it then too. I was just like, and so when he said that again, I was like, So I remember pulling up. I was like, okay, there it is, and there's the library. And again, I was listening to like Podcast Unlocked, and they made an interesting kind of note. It's not going to be worth anything now. It's fall. Everyone that has a system has a system. It's not going to do anything right now. But, and this is what kind of caught my eye, if next console roundabout, when the PS5s are out and Scarlets are out, and you don't want to go spend $500-$600 on a system or two that collects dust, and the Stadia can just be a thing that can pick up next gen games, and you're a person that you only play 1 to 2 AAA titles a year, or you've got a family, and you can't game as much as you want to. Brian Serafino, I know you were asking about how you can maybe juggle some time and some cash around. If the Stadia can pick up those games without buying a $500 system,
right?
I didn't think about that when it first came out. I'm like, that's a really good point. Maybe this thing isn't meant to sell gangbusters, 100 million units like the PS4.
Then what's it meant to do, though? That's the thing.
Be for the gamer
that
isn't
trying to pick up an extra couple capital.
Well, Google's already a billion company. I mean, they don't need it to sell. I mean, they're kind of jumping in this space.
They didn't need it in the first place, which is what's weird.
I don't know. I saw that and I was like, that is interesting.
It's an interesting opinion. I think what's even kind of weirder too is looking back at it. How much marketing have you seen?
None. Oh, I'm going to say that probably because it was so undercooked and over-delivered. They're not going to... I think they stopped doing marketing because they know it was already kind of half-baked.
And I don't think... And how do you do that with like a console? And that's what was kind of weird.
It's not a console.
Well, a console... that's something you're playing games on, whatever it is.
No, how can we be mad? It's not a console that came out. It's a streaming service that didn't have a stream on it.
Okay, well, whatever it is that you have to buy, the service that they want you to buy into, there's like zero marketing for it. I haven't seen a single thing.
I can say all the praise I want about how I think it's a cool idea for anyone that wants to pick up a few titles. What I still think is dog shit bullshit is that this thing is making you charge a subscription to keep it and then charge full price for games. That is where I'm drawing the line. I'm like, well, at that point, this thing doesn't make any sense.
Especially when you have to buy it all from your phone or a computer.
Yeah, you still need to pay the monthly and then you know, if you don't have the founders or whatever, then pay $60 for a game.
I'm just really curious to see where it's at.
Cut it.
And part of the thing, like you were talking about earlier, it's like, oh, maybe we can put this thing out here. It'll sell a couple million units or whatever. Okay, well, now it's coming down to the developer. Do we want to put our product on this thing that only sold so many units? Because that was a big thing that a lot of people were saying at the start of the console generation. Oh, the Xbox One isn't doing so good. That's why it lost a lot of support for like some like Japanese games that would normally get like. We're seeing that stuff now because now over time it's gotten to a point to where it's not a failure. It's not anything. It's not a runaway success like the PS4.
Right.
But it's worth it for these people to put things over. And I'm sure Phil had to go over and put some word and some work in. Yeah. But for the longest time, that's what was assumed is. It didn't sell that well, or as well as the PS4. It's only 40 million. Yeah, so if the Stadia is not even going to reach 40 million, who's going to develop? How many more games are you going to see on there?
But that's the thing, though. These things are all. I thought, if I was remembering, aren't these all configured to already PC specs? So I mean, most games already are configured to PC. Because that's the thing. They're not making it for Google Stadia hardware. They're running it on PC and then they're just streaming it. So the game is going to be there. Whether or not I think they can license it or distribute it or play it off the Stadia is going to be another thing. Because, like, again, why are there only this many games on launch? This isn't xCloud where they're trying something new. This is something where either all the games are going to run or all the games aren't. So I'm not sure why they have such a limited window of games. But, again, I don't think this is going to be where we see the Stadia do it slam dunk or not. I think it's going to be
a year from now.
I think it's going to be the end of next year. We'll see if this thing gets legs, and then by the end of next year, we're either going to say, buy Stadia, or, hey, this is something.
Yeah, for right now, I think it's unnecessary, but, I mean, that could change in a year.
I think this thing should have came out, like, March of next year. Like, I don't know why it's coming out so early.
It should have came out the summer of next year before the big consoles came out. Hey, instead of paying $500, $600 to upgrade, buy this Stadia thing, and we'll do whatever when it's fully ready and ready for everybody.
Yeah, so I'm curious, guys, if any of you guys picked up the Google Stadia, let me know. Let me know if you had any problems with it.
Let me know if that's your primary console.
It's not a console.
Or whatever.
I don't know if we can call it a console because if you do not use it to play games, it's still a Chromecast.
Let me know if it's your primary way to play.
So anyway, guys, let's move on from that, Andrew, unless there's anything else you want to add to the Stadia nonsense.
Nah, nothing else.
Okay, so let's get into riffers. You want to go first or second?
I'll go second.
You go second? Okay. So, guys, you've heard me talk about this before. The Game Pass has this thing on there where you can kind of get in Game Pass achievements for playing certain games. So, for example, you could be getting, let's say, Darksiders 3 just came out today, I believe, on the Game Pass. There's probably a thing on there that says get 2 achievements on Darksiders 3 and then collect it, and there's your points. But it's done for the month. So, what they just announced for the Xbox Game Pass preview, which is ending on December 19th, but only available if you're an Xbox Insider, is going to be more of these quests. They're turning it into, I think they said, like over 80, and it's developing between a daily, a weekly, and a monthly schedule. So if that is something you were doing, like I was doing, there's more goodness to come. The only thing that I couldn't wrap my head around was there was a thing that said you can complete quests based on hero stats. And I was just kind of reading some articles. I don't think anyone defined what that meant. We were kind of talking about it, like, what does that mean? No, like, clue. Play a game and do certain things with certain characters, and maybe that nets you more points. I don't know, but if that is something you guys are interested in, that is coming for Xbox Insiders, but only available until December 19th, which is someone's birthday.
And for those of you who aren't in the know, like me, because I was not in the know because I didn't have the Game Pass thing until just recently, you're actually rewarded with Microsoft points for doing these challenges, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, you can go online, you can get Starbucks gift cards, you can buy Microsoft merch, you can buy, there's a whole storefront that kind of does. I don't really do it for that because you don't really accumulate enough fast enough. I just do it as kind of like, oh, I'm on Game Pass.
Might as well, yeah.
What game haven't I played? And it gets me points. Cool. So I've been using it as something to get me outside my box to go, oh, I'm going to play this game because now I have an incentive.
But so just a little extra something.
Yeah, and I'm sure in the long run, in like 2 years when I accumulate enough points, I'll get a $5 Starbucks card. But, hey, it's there for you. So what do you got?
My riff that I'm going to start, my only riff too, is the VGA Awards, Geoff Keighley's show that he has every year, which I think 3 years ago wasn't that great, but the past 2 have been a lot better. I remember watching it last year. I think it was good, and the year before that. They always show off some new games and stuff. They put out a lot of their nominations, and I just wanted to go over the Game of the Year nominations.
GOTY!
somehow it made it on there, and I don't know how. Control is a game that's on there. Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2 Remake, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Smash Ultimate is on there.
Good.
And Outer Worlds is on there as well. So how do you feel about that list?
I'm already confused that is there not any other Switch games, big games that came out this year that rival
Luigi's Mansion?
Nothing else though? Because if
I
not,
mean, Smash is a nonstop phenomenon.
Because the other big thing, but that came out this year. That wasn't
Smash Ultimate did, I think.
Oh, okay. Because the other thing is Control, and that was a game I know me and Andrew wanted to go in on and get. The game undersold like a motherfucker.
Undersold, then went on sale a week after it released, and then it's even cheaper now than it ever was before. So like, okay, we'll wait. Yeah, we'll wait on that.
I think it's like $30, $39.99 right now. But maybe we just wrote it off too quickly. I mean, if it's up for a game of the year, and again, there's a ton of outlets that do game of the year, so this 6 isn't restrictive to everyone's thoughts.
This is
one of the more prestigious, or one of the ones we like to listen to more. And the fact that they're putting Control that high, I'm like, damn, maybe we did miss the boat.
I seen someone else do like a thing too, and they put, this is based solely. I don't know what the credentials are for Jeff Keighley's thing. I don't know if he has a panel of boards of people and they vote on something. A lot of people actually think it's unfair because he's very close friends with Hideo Kojima, and that's like been a known thing since forever. But like when you bring up, someone brought a user critic list for this year. That's us, people like you and me, could go and leave a review. Control's not even on there. Death Stranding's not even on there. Sekiro, Smash, Outer Worlds isn't on there. I forget what else is, but I know that like Devil May Cry 5 was something that was on there.
I had a blast playing Devil May Cry, which is now on the Game Pass.
And so I wonder if that speaks to like a gap between people. Like I said, I don't know who's voting for this. I personally like watching the Video Game Awards. It's something I would like to like maybe attend one day or something like that if we get the chance to. That would be
right
pretty
around
cool.
the corner. They're like in December. So I'd be curious. Maybe we should make our own list before December of what we think, not what we've played, but maybe what critically response should be maybe in that.
I think so, and maybe do like a cutoff for like November. Come up with our own things that we would like to see for our own game of the year. I mean, I it's not a bad list or anything, and I personally haven't played Death Stranding as much as I should on it. That game came out, and again, I will say wholeheartedly that game did not preview well, and maybe it's one of those games that you had to play in order for it to be good.
Yeah, there's a few different people that I like to listen to that talk games, and surprisingly, most of like how we were.
Are you talking about Colin? I was surprised. I was ready for him to shit on it. Yeah,
even Scoop and those guys, they were talking about like they all, for the majority, like it. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck me. Do I?
But everyone that I've listened to who talks about it is, I like this game, but I can easily understand people who hate it.
Yes, and I think we were kind of looking at it from the trailer. I can easily understand how people are going to hate this, but maybe in the back of my mind. But maybe it is an A.
And again, it's one of those things that it's got us talking, and as soon as we have time, I think it's definitely something we'll probably end up trying. And, I'll wholeheartedly eat crow and be like, you know what? This game just looked like shit. I think it demoed badly, but in the end result, if it plays well, then it plays well, and I'm all for that.
Yeah, we need to get that PS4 share going and start playing those games. So, anything else you want to add on that?
No, that was the final thing that I had.
That we want to actually go to something like that one day.
Maybe we can afford it. If you want to buy us tickets, or if you know somebody who can get us in there somehow, then let us know,
Tell
please.
them guys that do stuff on stuff like that. So, anyway, guys, that
rank amateurs.
To rank amateurs. That is the end of our riff. So let's get into video game questions of the week. So the first one, guys, comes from Mylito86, and he says, "Great watch, boys. My question to you: if you could have one video game movie created that has not been done yet, what would it be? Animated movies excluded." Now, I took this in the vein that when you say animated, we're talking more like a cartoon, like a
something more hand-drawn or something. Like, I wouldn't call, even though it is like the perfect example, because we were just watching something about the new Lion King, how photorealistic it is.
Yeah, I don't know if I would animated.
I wouldn't call that animated.
Keep it to like an animated movie,
like Shrek's
like
animated,
Last Airbender or something like that. Right? Like that. And again, maybe this is cheating. I don't know. The first thing that came to my mind that I kind of want to see a game on was, I don't know how. And again, I like watching. I guess not. Again, I never said it, but games that are based on licensed like movies or something like that. I want to see Ready Player One. I don't know how Ready Player One, unless it has and I don't know about it, hasn't been made into a video game, because it kind of has that Tron vibe.
Didn't they make that movie already?
Yeah, it's a movie turned into a video. What if you could have one video game movie create? Oh, I read the question completely wrong. I thought it was what movie would you turn into a video game, not what video game.
No,
you
if you
turn
could have
into a
one
movie?
video game turned into that has not been done into a movie.
Okay, you go and let me read that.
How do you have an animated book?
No, I thought it was saying what movie
I got
do you want to turn into a video game? Which I'm saying.
My question to you: if you could have one video game movie create, okay, yeah, okay, so I was right. All right,
so you go. Let me think. Hold on.
I'll give you a split because I had two different directions and they instantly both popped into my head.
War. Sorry.
So that would be a really cool one.
That'd be the only one for me. It's God of War. So
that'd be almost like Clash of the Titans or what's that other one
Clash
with
of the Titans,
Mickey
Immortals?
Rourke? Immortals. I love Immortals.
I read that question. I don't know how I flipped that around, but anyway, I want both of those. I want a Ready Player One video game that's based on the movie, and then a God of War movie based on the game. So there you go. I'll give you there's your answers.
That'd be pretty cool. I'll take two because I went in two different directions because it's two very different themes. So one, I would love to see a Metal Gear, something like that campy and that over the top.
But that is technically, I think, on the books. I think Metal Gear is still in contention for being green.
It hasn't been made yet. Right. Yeah, that's something they've been talking about for a while. That's something I would personally love to see, provided it's done right. Because I love that campy, like over the top for that because the writing and that is done so well.
Are you getting Kiefer to play him?
No, I'll get
David Hayter?
No, I can't. Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah. There you go.
And then my other go-to would actually be Dead Space because I love Dead Space 1, not the over-the-top 2, because I think it would be nice to see something slower or even a good Metroid. Except for I would want the Metroid to play out more like how the movie Alien does. So she's fucking up these other things, but the Metroid is this big thing that's just stalking her. And so it's a lot slower of a movie, and it shows that fear. Because I remember watching I remember I showed you that animated one.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. And
you
see like the fear in her eyes. Like she is a tough bounty hunter, but she doesn't know everything. She can feel fear. She is still human after all. And so maybe we'll even put that in the link because it's been a while since I watched that, and that was good. But my go-to would be Dead Space again because just the horror, the twists that movie takes or that game takes, it's really good. I think it'd be done really well. That and it's all confined to small areas.
Claustrophobia is a hell of a drug.
So I think if you're experimenting with a game movie, that it would be expensive as far as how it looks and like the animations and the effects that you have to use. But as far as the set goes, it's all set on a ship. So it's not like you have to fly someone out to New Zealand to film in these fucking fields.
This is all in-house done.
Yeah,
baby.
It's not Lord of the Rings where a majority of the money is coming from fucking this wide horizon of we're filming here, here, and here. It's one set like that. And so I think that would be a good starting place.
Yeah. And if you can make Thor a movie, 3 movies, then you can make God of War.
I want to know when you ask this question, I want to know what you were longing for. I want to know what yours was.
Hey, what do you pine for? What do you crave?
Besides Chris Pine.
The next one comes from Jab Stab, and he asks, what do you think about the design of the prototype PS5 controller? I like this question because I think it just popped out 2 days ago that the Japanese patent office just showed what they patented, and it's actually out now for us to look at.
Well, someone created like a mock-up.
Well, yeah, someone actually did, and when you look at them side by side at quick glance, there's nothing to actually see a difference on. But I mean, right, because it looks like the pad's still there.
Right, but once you start zooming in, they took off the light.
Yeah, you can start seeing it. Yeah, no light is the big thing, which makes the pad bigger, which I like. And then there are at least a few things that we were watching and researching. They're confirming the microphone in the controller, which means instant access to maybe like a, hey, help me find this game.
It looked like that pad was slightly a little bit bigger too.
And yeah, the fact that I think they were making the kind of the controller, like the way it feels in your hands, better. A lot of people will arguably say, and it's one of the best selling systems of all time, the PS4 has the best controller. So if you're going to take something that most gamers, because we have to admit it as Xbox fans, they're the majority, say that that's the best controller, then to make something that's better than the best, I mean, how do you lose? It has to be moving in the right direction.
Say that's the best controller.
Not you, personally.
Oh, most people I see online know it's all that Xbox.
There's more PS4s in the wild than there are Xbox Ones.
I think if they add maybe, not heavy, but a little more heft to it, the way that it kind of looks almost like it's designed, because now that I got that Xbox One Elite 2, that's what it doesn't feel like this like little light piece of plastic that I'm holding anymore. Like there's a little bit of weight to it that's not It's not too much. It is just enough to where it feels perfect. That's actually more where my thing is I don't want a controller anymore that I feel like I could like huck across like fucking over a mountain. I want something that feels a little bit more weightier that isn't fragile.
But that's what they're doing though. I mean, they are putting more weight on it.
Yeah, so, no, that's what I'm saying.
And they were saying how like the R2 I think was going to be more. It was like a wider button. So I mean, overall, do you like the look of it? Do you like that it's getting more?
Yeah, it looks the same. I mean, if anything, I'm glad they have the USB-C and that's.
Oh yeah, that was the big thing. Yeah, now that all my controllers can all fit under Type-C, USB-C.
I mean, I think realistically, it looks the majority is still the same. It's more going to come down, again, the subtle differences. Like, you know, what is that screen for? Because it only shows the screen, but a lot of people are saying it's more going to be touch screen now than an actual, like, what the base display is just for start and whatever.
Well, and the other thing was, like, all the haptics and the resistance and all that, because what they were saying is,
but Xbox has a lot of that stuff, too, the haptic feedback and the rumbles.
The PS5 controller is now supposed to be designed in every game that you can... You know, when you push the triggers, you can feel the resistance. But they're saying that that's up to the developer to be a part of. So this controller might be badass and have all the bells and whistles, but if nobody's going to utilize it and use it.
And again, that's how it was kind of with the Xbox One when it came out too. The controller had all that stuff that they were talking about, and only some games like Forza or something like that, like really took full advantage of it.
So, this thing on paper looks right. It's better than the PS4 one. Which
it's cool to see that they're revamping it, not just like, hey, let's just take A and repaste it.
But until you do something like Xbox fans are saying where you can make that controller and totally customize it. If this thing's not starting with that, then I think they're missing something.
That Elite 2 changed my life.
Because the Scarlet, if I'm not mistaken, starts with an Elite 1 controller, doesn't it?
I think it might. I don't know. I'd have to
look
that up.
Well, if it doesn't. At least you have automatic access to that. I don't think the PS4 has anything that mimics that where you can change the
not unless you order like a custom thing like from like Scuff or somebody.
So I think it looks good. I think they're moving in the right direction as a standard base controller. This thing looks like it's only going to be better than its predecessor.
Yeah, no, I always would want something different, not just all right, this works, let's do it. There's always room for improvement. Always
room. So Jabstab, thank you for the question, man, and give us your thoughts. I don't think I read that you wrote on there, so I want to know if you like the the hypothetical, what it can do, and then the patent version of what we got to see. So. Other than that, Andrew.
Nah, I don't got nothing else.
So, guys, that moves on to the contest. So, guys, make sure you're watching all the episodes that have the entry for the PS4 because that is what we're currently giving away. And the way you enter it, guys, is check out every episode, hashtag PS4, because when me and Andrew do the comment look for to make sure you guys submit, that's the keyword that we're looking for.
Yeah, so if that's not in your comment, you're not even going to be entered to win. And you can put anything on there. You can be like, you know what?
Yeah, leave us a question, leave us a comment, leave us a beer to drink. But make sure
that Craigie's so handsome, hashtag PS4.
So guys, make sure you check that out. Make sure you enter, because if you don't enter, you don't win. But guys, check us out on all the social medias. That runs from your Facebooks, your Twitters, your Instagrams, your podcast feeds. And leave us a comment, a like, a gentle subscribe, a bells and whistles if you want to.
As always, I will always say hit that notification button because I get them all day now from the few people, not all day, but from the few videos that I do care about. I even have to do it on our own so it doesn't get lost in the feed. I know instantly as soon as the thing comes out, so I instantly add it to my watch later, and as soon as I get off work, I don't have to look for it. I don't have to try and go down through my feeds or anything. It's right there for me. And as someone who wasn't a believer until recently,
now he's a believer.
Changed my life.
So guys, until next time, my name's Craig Perales. That is Mandrew Montemayor. Cheers.
God. Instead of having her pull herself back in, I was like, get the fuck out of here.
And what ability is that? You can force pull yourself from space?
Yeah.
And now that's a move?
And you're ice cold dead in space and you can pull yourself back in.
Yeah. And you've never done any force before.
Back into a room that the wall's already blown out of, so it's just as bad in there as it is out there.
And then serve a catered lunch.
It's...
I wasn't a fan.
No,
I don't even like the trailers of the new one. I'm just like, don't.
No.
All it's gonna do is let me down. I'm getting my expectation here. I have to temper it.
And it sucks because I had high. I know some people talk shit. I personally like The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, the first one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a good movie.
Yeah, I like it too.
I love The Force Awakens.
The second one sucks.
Especially fucking Kylo's out there fucking
Kylo was the shit.
Dude. Yeah. Traitor!
Dude. There's nothing. I don't care if it's a beat for beat. Remake. I was just like,
it was
cool.
a beat for beat in all the right ways.
It's like anyone that goes that remakes Romeo and Juliet story. Cool. I want to see a different version of it. They just happened to make 2 cool versions of A New Hope.
Yeah, no, it was badass.
Return of the Jedi, or not Return of the Jedi.
The Last Jedi
sucked. Bad.
Yeah, I don't even like the.
And that's the thing, though. I don't like talking shit on it. It's just like I can't help what I feel, and I was just like,
I don't think there was.
That's stupid.
There was
that's
one
wrong.
There was not one redeeming part of that movie.
And I tried my best to like what they did with Mark Hamill at the end, like the whole fight. But I'm like, it's fake.
That killed him.
It's garbage. It's fake.
Yeah, you gave me a fake fight that killed someone I wanted to see actually get a noble death.